What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Doug, and if you don't know and you can't tell, I'm new to YouTube. If you've been watching these videos, you've got to have picked up on it already. I'm new to this whole thing. I launched this channel May 1st, 2020, 42 days ago. So this is all new to me. All I knew is that I wanted to launch a channel that would focus on opening the lines of communication between the community and the police officers. I wanted to show the community what it was like to be a police officer and talk about the things that maybe police officers don't want to talk about or feel like it's tough to talk about. And I also wanted to bring perspective to police officers of what it's like to be back in the community. Because after you've been a cop for a while, you kind of forget what it's like to be a civilian. And if you're just a civilian and never been a police officer, you don't know what the heck you're talking about. Nothing is as it seems. That may be the first thing you learn as a police officer. Everything you thought was one way is a different way. And everything you thought about how to handle something, you can't handle it that way. Law is like magic and secret code all wrapped up in one. I figured I could bring some perspective. I mean, the fact that I went from being a civilian to a good cop in a major city back to a civilian again, I thought it was a good story. So when I launched my channel, I knew I had to do some background episodes to kind of explain my journey and who I am so that you can see how I went from being a civilian to making it to the police department and what that took, getting through the police academy, and then what it was like when I pushed out of police academy and was with my field training officer, and then what it was like on patrol, what it was like to go undercover, what it was like to be in the ATV unit, what it was like to be a cop in general, and then especially be a cop in Hawaii. I thought it was something that people would want to know so they could understand why they wanted to be a part of this. So I launched my first video on May 1st, 2020. That video mostly dealt with my life from birth up until the point where I first flew to Hawaii to take the entrance exam to become a police officer. And I will leave a link to that video right here. I got such a good response from that video, people wanting to hear more about the story and asking questions, that I decided to do a couple podcast episodes called Remember the Time, where I interviewed people that were a part of my life during the time that I dealt with in the podcast. So I brought on my mom and my Uncle Mike, and I was going to do my Uncle Brian and my Uncle Russ and just kind of elaborate into the hilarious and tragic stories of our pasts. While I was still preparing for episode 2, which is the part about me going through the hiring process and flying out to Hawaii 5 times and my psych evaluations and the polygraph, the physical exams, the physical testing, George Floyd got killed by Derek Chauvin. I think it was on May 25th. And 5 videos later, here we are. All my videos since then have been talking about George Floyd or Derek Chauvin or the case as it relates to the two. We've been talking about the details, we've been talking about speculations, we've been talking about nuance. I feel like I'm bringing perspective to an audience that otherwise wouldn't know how to approach law or the legal system. And I realize that for people that don't understand that, it's kind of a shocking concept, because it was for me in police academy. A lot of the comments that I get that are people saying, you're out of your mind, or you're crazy, or, you know, how can you say that? You saw the video, you saw what he did. It's right in front of you. Don't be an idiot. Why would you say that? Well, that's because that's exactly how I felt when I'm sitting in police academy learning the law. When they tell you things that you can't do because of case law, because of precedent, and because of fruit of the poisonous tree, and all these legal terms that have to do with technicalities in law. So I feel you. I felt the same way. I kind of lost that perspective when hearing these comments, and I got to get back to that. They're coming from the same place I was, and that's face value, which we call prima facie. That's how they're taking things. I just got to remember that that's where I came from as well, so I got to have empathy for that. But this isn't exactly where I thought the channel was going to go. I mean, it's not exactly where I wanted the channel to go. It's so tragic that George Floyd died and that we're having to deal with this. But also brought up a lot of stuff. Brought up a lot of stuff that everybody needs to deal with. Black Lives Matter and these protests. These are things, it sparked something. It sparked change in the communities. And whether you agree with them or not, this mixing it up like this is always good to address things, to get uncomfortable. Comfort is the enemy. And so when we get uncomfortable during these times, we really find out who people are. We find out what we think, what we feel. We find out our fears, the things that we can be critical about ourselves for, the things that we can be critical about others for. And eventually it all comes back around to community and love. That's where we want to get to, at least. So I don't plan on having my channel like this forever. I mean, I still want to record my second episode of Leaving the Dream. I just haven't had any time because of the videos that I'm doing. Nonetheless, here we are. And for the near future, my guess is I'll still be doing videos about George Floyd and Derek Chauvin in this case, because people want to know. And I'm explaining things that maybe people haven't thought of from a law enforcement perspective or from a legal perspective. That's going to be probably what this channel is for the next few videos, at least. Maybe the next few months, and however long this case lasts. I mean, as long as there's recent developments, I'll be addressing them. One thing that I haven't really thought of, though, and this is what this video is all about, is how I'd interact with my audience, both the subscribers and just the flybys, the ones that just drive by, watch the video, drop a comment. No one really talks about that. No one really tells you or prepares you for what you're supposed to do. You just figure, I'll be myself and I'll answer all these nice people's questions with sincerity and honesty and transparency. Then you get the wake-up call. In reality, it's mostly trolls or keyboard warriors that just come by and drop bombs, try to ruin your day, say stupid stuff, antagonize. And, I guess, I knew it was there, but you just don't think that's what you're going to get. But you do. And it's mostly people wanting to flex their opinion. And so you kind of get caught off guard, I thought I was handling things well for 5 hours. And then I found myself in arguments on YouTube, on my channel, on a channel that I'm creating content for. It's my content. People are arguing with me about my content, and I realized how stupid that was. I mean, I was arguing with people that really didn't care what I say and really didn't care what they say. They were just saying things to be angry or to get me upset or whatever. They just wanted to hate. They're just trolls. But then sprinkled in with all the trolls are these lovely people who actually care, who actually watch and spend 25 minutes watching a video. My first video on George Floyd was horrendous. I mean, you think this is bad? My first one was 25 or 30 minutes with huge pauses. It said raw and unedited, but still it was horrible. And then you look and people are watching 25 minutes of it. So you have these really great people who come in and watch the whole video, and then they drop comments. And the comments, I've gotten videos from people that don't agree with me, who are like, man, I really enjoyed the video. Thanks for this perspective. I don't think that's the case. I really think it's like this, but I like the unbiased opinion, and you made me think about some things. There are really people out there like that. It's hard to believe that when you see all the trolls, but there really are people like that. Then there's good people who just don't like what you said. And there's people who think I'm lying or thinking that I'm sticking up for somebody like Derek Chauvin or whatever. They see a white cop with a badge behind him and they're just angry. And I gotta have empathy for them too. I mean, people are going through a lot right now. Then you got people who really like what you have to say, which you're grateful for. But at the same time, you don't know them any more than you know the people that don't agree with you. And they could just be agreeing with you because maybe they feel like you're proving the same point that they've been talking to all their friends to. You know what I mean? It kind of clouds your brain a little bit. And so because you have all those good people that are reading your comments, you don't stop reading them. And you don't stop answering them because you're like, yo, this is a good person. He deserves an answer. And let me go back and forth with him. And then you do it. But then you get hit with one of those trolls, right? But then you're on a roll because you're responding. So now you're responding to the troll. It's hilarious. It's like this cycle. I guess everybody's got to go through it. I mean, I'm at 92 subscribers right now. My videos are only getting 200, on average, probably 200 watch minutes per video. Some are at 14,000. Some are at 2,000. But on average, the videos were coming in at 200 watch minutes. For that amount of minutes watched, it's silly to be arguing with people. So today, I get this comment. And it seems like an ignorant, angry, spoiled person who just dismisses everything that I say, drops an opinion bomb that's completely ridiculous. It's based on emotion and speculation, and when you read those, you picture this spoiled, adult, uncultured, intolerant, pathetic grown-up who should know better, just being dumb, thinking that they're better than everybody else, trying to argue with you. It's automatic. It's the first place your brain goes. When you get this hateful comment or a comment which just seems arrogant, pompous, first thing you think is some douchebag in his basement. But then through the conversation, I start getting these red flags. This person is very uneducated. Other red flags indicating this person seems really young. And then it hits me. I'm picturing this grown adult who knows better that wants to pick a fight with me. Someone who's done this for years. But the reality is that could be a 14-year-old girl. Her brain won't fully develop for 11 years. She probably lives in a gated community with security guards and 4 poodles. And then I asked myself, if I was at an elementary school doing meet a police officer or, bring your daddy to school day with my son, and some little girl made that same comment that seems ignorant or seems like a dumb idea or seems like they're trolling, like how would I respond to that little girl? If my 7-year-old daughter asked me a silly question or made some silly comment, is that how I talk to her? Ugh. And then I was ashamed, because that's not productive in any way. Even though the subscribers are mostly adults, or the commenters are mostly adults, and they're just going to leave more trolling comments on your replies, you're still better off if you have empathy and answer the question or reply to the comment politely. It's not going to win hearts and change minds, but it's the right thing to do. So from now on, I'm going to answer the questions with integrity. I'm still going to have fun. If people want to have fun, I'm still going to come at them. But I won't have this vitriol for trolls, because they might be some little girl learning their way around the world. You know what I mean? Figuring out the internet and what it's like to, make stupid comments. So I got to thinking. My channel's at 92 subscribers. I'm only 8 away from 100. So this gives me a little bit of time. But when I get to 100 subs, that's only 8 subs away, I'm going to do a question and answer session. Basically, I'm going to answer the questions and comments that were left in the comment section on previous videos. I don't know, maybe I'll go live and answer live questions as well. Kind of an opportunity for people to ask a cop a question that they normally couldn't ask a cop, or to ask questions that you would feel uncomfortable asking a cop. And I'm not a cop anymore, so I can answer these questions, and maybe I won't have the same reservations I would have if I was a cop. I know a lot of people have the questions, so I'm going to answer live questions, answer questions that are previously asked, or answer the comments that were left, even if they're dumb, even if they're trolls. And this way I can get those answers out. Try to be better at answering questions and not getting wrapped up in arguments. There was a really funny argument that I got in today, and I just realized it was pathetic how I was answering it. I don't know what I was thinking. So I was a little bit ashamed of myself in that one. So for now, I'm going to picture all you guys as 14-year-old girls who don't know what they're talking about, just so I can stay polite. But I do want to say thank you for everybody who's been commenting, and all the comments I have been getting, especially the ones that have been encouraging and the ones that have created conversation and kind of stirred the waters a little bit. It's been a blessing to watch. So I appreciate all you guys. If you like what you saw, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to. That's all I can ask you. And we'll see where this thing goes. So I appreciate you guys. Aloha.